Hello everyone, thanks for joining us on the program this evening. From the political crossfire in Enugu to the burning question of how prepared Nigeria really is for disasters. Tonight, we go beyond the headlines. Let's begin with the issue of disaster and how it's continued to feature quite a number of times across Nigeria, and from devastating tanker blast explosions and recurring market infernos to flood-ravaged communities and building collapse. Earlier this year, recall that a fuel tanker overturned near Suleja, claiming over 100 lives as residents rushed to scoop spilled petrol. Flash floods in Adama's Yola area left 25 dead, thousands displaced. There's the Mokwa flood, which has now been described as the worst in 6 decades, killed hundreds, left over 600 missing, and submerged quite a number of settlements. These repeated calamities indeed mirror Nigeria's vulnerabilities in disaster preparedness and our warning systems, emergency response, as well as post-crisis recovery. Joining me first on the show today to shed light on these challenges is the former acting controller general of the Federal Fire Service, Dr. Samson, who brings decades of frontline experience in firefighting and disaster management. Dr. Samson, thank you for joining us on Beyond the Headlines. You know, they say research reveals deep gaps in our disaster management, that we rather focus on reactive response than prevention, and also that our recovery plans are quite inadequate. Based on your frontline experience, what policy changes would you say are needed to most effectively close these gaps?
Well, I think, my candid opinion, we need a whole lot of changes to take place so that we can actually move forward and stand the test of time. Because in any environment we find ourselves, there are bound to be hazards. As long as there's a human factor, there are bound to be hazards. But then what do we do before such hazards take place? Are we prepared actually for hazards? Are we prepared for disasters? That is one question. That is one question, actually, that we've overlooked over time.
Indeed.
There's one of the UN envoys, I think Ban Ki-moon, he said most times before a disaster happens, we don't do anything. And I think it's correct. It is when a disaster happens, that is when we begin to look for fire trucks to purchase. Yes. And that's not supposed to be the case. When situations happen like this, there is what we call a post-disaster needs assessment. Post-disaster needs assessment. That is a whole lot of program that earmarks the things we didn't do before the disaster took place.
I hear you, Dr. Samson. Let us try to narrow it down specifically, for instance, to the fatal tanker explosions we've experienced in the past 2 years, killing hundreds of people. There's also the record-setting loss from flooding in Mokwa recently. Do you believe that the Federal Fire Service, for instance, should be more integrated into NEMA-led emergency response frameworks? And how could that achieve better coordination?
Very good. I think if we put parameters in place, if we put such things in place, we'll be able to forestall any environment where these disasters are supposed to come to pass. But then, there are boats, rescue boats, we are supposed to purchase as an agency, as a NEMA. If these boats are purchased, it will help us. It will help us. Like this flood disaster in, I think, Niger State of recent. The primary responsibility of the Federal Fire Service is, one, saving of lives and property. In saving of lives and property, there are rescues we are supposed to take control of. But then, if we purchase these lifeboats, rescue boats, we'll be able to save lives and properties. Then secondly, this post-disaster needs assessment program is going to highlight the things we are supposed to put in place during a disaster. During a disaster, then after a disaster, the losses economically, social impact, economic impact, these are the things we are supposed to take care of.
Absolutely.
When we talk about post-disaster needs assessment program. Then, how do we go around this framework? It's just as if we are going to buy boats. We're going to buy boats. They will now spread the boats according to regions. I was telling somebody yesterday that the proximity of saving people from drowning is all about proximity to a situation room. If we have a situation room, like I was telling somebody yesterday that when the naval SEALs went to take out Osama bin Laden, when they went to take out Osama bin Laden, Barack Obama was in Washington, but he was monitoring everything that was happening back there. So if we have a situation room whereby we can monitor the things that are happening across the country, we'll be able to save lives and property in that way.
I hear you clearly. There are other issues like unsafe building practices, blocked drainages, poor urban planning, which have also in a way impacted significantly on our disaster risks. Recently, NIMET warned that it was going to rain for about 7 days, and we saw the impact, yes, the rapid impact of that on many of our communities. Do you think the Federal Fire Service, as it is now, have the mandate or even the capacity to enforce fire codes, or does it rely on other agencies?
Yes, we don't have the capacity. We don't have the capacity. We must always rely on other agencies to assist us. We have the National Orientation Agency. They are supposed to go to town, educate people on what they need to do, what they need to put in place to forestall any incidents like this flooding disaster that is about to come up. So in any way we find ourselves, we are supposed to be a proactive agency, not a reactional agency. The fire service has the capacity as of now, as of when I left it then. The fire service has the capacity. Let us
touch on a few things that you raised as acting CG of the fire service. I think it was in 2022 you urged Nigerians not to obstruct firefighters and to always grant them right of way. And then there's the scooping of fuel from falling petrol tankers that we've also witnessed. How can we enforce this more effectively as someone who's experienced in this regard?
Okay. We are supposed to have an enforcement agency. When we go out with possibly the civil defense people, civil defense officials. The Nigerian police is supposed to be like a joint force team, because we're talking about rendering service to Nigerians. So, in every way we find ourselves, this is what we are supposed to do. We are supposed to educate ourselves first and foremost. Because if it is in you, if safety stipulations are in you, it is within you, so you know what to do at the right time.
Absolutely. And we're looking forward to that and counting on sustained efforts on the part of government. But I want us to quickly touch on the quality of welfare that is available for your men. The immediate past CG of the Federal Fire Service was allegedly subjected to a public show of shame by his officers following the announcement of his retirement and replacement by the president. I'm sure you've seen the viral video where several officers of the service were seen openly booing him. How do you honestly react to this, and what does it say about staff welfare and the efficiency of this Federal Fire Service?
Well, he had his own plans. Till today as we speak, he has not paid me anything. Because the Honorable Minister then, Engineer Rauf Aregbesola, made sure that he boxed me outside the service. I cannot set any examination questions and Jaji will pass. It's a lie. They don't know anything. The whole service knows. They know my ability. I joined the service as a recruit fireman. And I left. Not that I left on my own, but because Nigerian issue happened to us. Aregbesola didn't want me there. He didn't want me there.
So you were.
I'm not here to talk about Aregbesola and what he did to me.
I hear you, but you were. Go ahead, Dr. Samson.
Yes. He gave my predecessor, my boss, 18-month service extension the day the man clocked 60 years. He gave him 18-month service extension. And I was begging him, just give me 8 months. He said, no, just retire and leave. Before I even took over, Aregbesola shopped my replacement.